Welcome back to BKTV Live. Today is Thursday, November 11th, 2021. On the show today, we have coverage of FHS's salute to veterans, first-time blood donors, and the history of Elephant Rocks.
Also on our show today, vandalism in our community, the Bonne Terre Space Museum, and the historic first trip to state for our swim team.
However, before we get started, we want to share a change with you for Thursdays. We plan to start incorporating the Night's Watch announcement into our Thursday live sessions from here on out. So today for lunch, your choices are soft taco, chicken Alfredo, sloppy joe, Italian sub, barbecue chicken teriyaki, and salad bar.
Celebrating birthdays today are Cheyenne Clay and Jane Layton. Happy birthday from BKTV, and don't forget to get your birthday selfie with Dr. Mons. Don't forget, there's no school tomorrow for students, Friday, November 12th.
It's opening night for the 12 Integers tonight at 7 p.m. at Truman Auditorium. Tickets are $5 and show runs through Saturday. To live cast and the crew of the show, break a leg. And now, cue the intro. Veterans Day today, which is a very meaningful holiday to not only for the country, but also to our local community.
Alex Coomer and Caleb Truman have interviewed some familiar faces from Farmington to help us get an idea of the true significance of today.
Every year, on November 11th, the nation comes out in celebration of our brave veterans. We ask, what does Veterans Day mean to FHS?
Veterans Day, it's a holiday, but it's a very important holiday. We honor all those who have served and all those that have dedicated and spent a lot of their lives sacrificing for our countries, our freedoms, upholding our ideals and values.
It's honoring people who have served for our country, defended our country.
Yeah, so Veterans Day means a lot to me because I'm very patriotic and I love to support our troops, and just a great day to celebrate our veterans and everything they've done for our country.
To me, it means honoring the people that have made the ultimate sacrifice by going into the military. So it's just doing whatever I can to support them. Because, once again, it is the ultimate sacrifice.
It's a way to recognize and congratulate our veterans that fought for us.
To honor the ones who, defended our country.
I wouldn't say celebrate, but honor the lives of all the veterans that risked their lives for us. And
it means, showing, respect for all the veterans that fought in the war for us today.
Congratulating and celebrating all the people that have fought and died for our country and to give us our freedom that we have now and allowing us to be here nowadays.
It's celebrating the people who's fought for our lives and our freedom.
Where we recognize the people who fought for our country and are the reason that we are a free country.
Veterans Day means a lot to me because my uncle was in the Army, and it just means a lot that he was able to serve his country and that I get to be able to show my pride and be able to show how proud I am of him.
Who would you like to honor this Veterans Day? My dad, Marcus Truman, my mom, Jennifer Truman, and my grandpa, Dave Brigham.
John's Bones parents, Cassie and Bob, both Air Force, and Sergeant Heflin.
Jimmy and John Hand.
My uncle, he was in the Air Force, I'm pretty sure.
My dad.
My uncle, Terry Wilson. He's a great guy.
my grandpa and my uncle.
My grandpa Dave and my grandpa Stan.
My grandpa Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock.
Well, obviously my uncle, Dennis Dornbach.
My uncle Michael.
My dad, he served in both the Air Force and the Army, 12 years, as well as, though he's no longer with us, my great-grandfather. He served in the Marines and fought in the Korean War.
BKTV and the Farmington School District would like to thank all of those who have served and are serving for our country. We are safer for your sacrifice and service to our nation.
On deck, we have Sean Downs and Bradley Lewis taking us through the experience of a first-time donor at the blood drive that we had last week.
Farmington High School hosted a blood drive on November 4th, and BKTV's own Sean Downs decided that he wanted to donate blood.
I want to donate blood because it seems like an interesting new experience, and also it might go out and help someone.
Sean was able to answer the many questions that people have before donating blood for the first time.
You can donate blood at local blood drives. They're hosted often throughout the year. I believe you're able to donate blood once you turn 16, but you need parents' permission up until you turn 18. It goes to a good cause. If someone has some major injury or they need some sort of surgery where they're lacking blood, then it'll go to them if you share a blood type.
We were also able to talk to Kate Howard, the president of HOSA. HOSA is responsible for running and scheduling the blood drives.
So right now there's actually a national blood shortage, so it's really important that we go ahead and try to donate blood. It's also a really good opportunity to involve the community and also the school. So the organization that we go to donate the blood is American Red Cross. So it actually can go all over the United States. So there's not a specific place that it necessarily goes to, but it just kind of depends on what type of blood you have and who needs it. So we have 2 different blood drives every single year, except for last year because of COVID stuff. The good news is that we have basically all of our time slots are completely filled, which is really nice to hear. And then, of course, the American Red Cross comes in, and the phlebotomists are the people that take blood. And then HOSA are the people that kind of volunteer.
So overall, I'd say donating blood was a pretty good experience. Not only did it go toward a good cause, but I really didn't have any effects afterwards. The only thing was I got kind of winded when I would walk around for a long period of time. But overall, it was a pretty good experience, and you get free pretzels.
Big thank you to Kate Howard, and signing off for BKTV News Live, Bradley Lewis and Sean Downs.
That was some great insight on giving blood.
Thanks, Bradley and Sean.
Next, we have Mark DeSouthern, Nate Ballou, and me covering the history of Elephant Rock State Park.
We are called Elephant Rock State Park, and a lot of that is because of the big rocks here are lined up like circus elephants, but we also have rocks all over the park that look like other animals, and that's one of the things that we do with young kid programs here is we take them on a walk through the park, and then they try to use their imagination to figure out what kind of animal a particular rock looks like. The quarry was owned by a private company, and that private company actually built its own small gauge rail station, and that train tracks went from here to the town of Ironton. And then they would load the granite on the train here and then take it over to Ironton, and then it would switch from the small train over to the big train, and then the big train would take it on into St. Louis for processing. What we're standing on right here is actually the top of a magma chamber from a super caldera volcano. That molten rock, if it erupts out of the volcano, becomes lava, but if it stays inside the volcano and cools off, it turns into granite. And what happened is this whole southeast Missouri, basically from St. Louis to almost to Jefferson City, and from Jefferson City down almost to West Plains, Missouri, and then into Arkansas and over to the Mississippi River, was a huge volcanic super caldera system, similar to what we have out in Colorado now at the Yellowstone. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into preservation of the park. State Park's mission is to protect and preserve natural resources for the state of Missouri. One of the things that we do here at our park is maintain the trails, make sure that all of the trees that have damage to them are trimmed correctly so they're safe, but then also protect the natural resource from natural problems like storms and erosion and things like that, and then human-caused problems like vandalism and things like that. The park is open to the public year-round. In the summertime, we're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. In the fall, starting in September, we close at 7. In October, we close at 6. And then during the wintertime, we close at 5. So if you're going to be driving from a long ways off, you want to make sure you go to mostateparks.com and check out the open and close times and see if we're having any special education programs for the day that you're planning to come.
Boy, do I love Elephant Rocks.
Yeah, climbing, jumping, and doing some hardcore parkour.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark, Nate, and of course, Caden.
Next, we have Ian Bailey and Heath Ritchie, who are covering the ongoing issue of vandalism and how it affects our students and community as a whole.
BKTV, it's Ian here, and we all know the vaping and the vandalism problem that's been going on, and we're going to see the effect and the cost it is for the students.
Well, I mean, I can see kids that, because they're not the one paying the taxes and actually spending the money to actually, fund schools and whatever, think it's not, their concern. But one of the things I think we here at Farmington and at the high school in particular try to build is a culture, that it's a community. Taking some pride in where you actually go to school and the other people that you're around is an important part of that. So from a cultural standpoint, we want kids to feel like they belong here, and it makes it harder for kids to feel like they belong if people are trashing the place that they go to school, right? But it damages the overall school community when that happens. Schools are obviously funded with taxpayer money, so kids' parents, community members, obviously all pay taxes to support schools. So if you have damage in bathrooms or a building or spray painted the side of something or whatever, then you're basically using taxpayer money to fix something that wouldn't have to be fixed. Some sensors, obviously, in some of the bathrooms that pick up some elements like sound and vaping and some pieces with that. So we're increasing our supervision in bathrooms as well. So we're having more staff nearby in various areas to make sure that we're going to be able to combat this as a problem and make sure it doesn't continue.
It really does hurt our community as a whole, and especially our students, when vaping or vandalism occurs within our bathrooms or anywhere on school property.
You know what, Caden? I've officially found my true calling in life. I'm going to be an astronaut.
Do you know anything about being an astronaut?
No, I just want to go to space.
Well, you can learn the basics at the Bonne Space Museum. Let's go to Jack and Jared for more info.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
The Bonne Space Museum has been open to the public for almost 2 decades. What is it like there? Deborah House shares the background, experience, and future of the museum.
It was opened back in 2003 by a gentleman named Earl Mullins. Earl has been an avid collector of space programs since he was 8 years old. And he opened a little building on the end of corner of Fight and School Street to display his personal belongings. As of 2007, we became a not-for-profit organization. We now have obtained over $30 million worth of artifacts from the NASA program. Building and our purpose of this museum is to teach the history of NASA's program. We also have artifacts that has been given to us through estates of family members that work for the NASA program. We opened the new building that you're standing in right now called the Grissom Center. We opened it in March of 2018. Or 19, excuse me, I'm forgetting my years. And in doing so, we had a grand opening. We had 5 astronauts here that day. 3 of them was from Missouri themselves. We do school programs, we do scout programs. We've even held a couple of birthdays here for birthday parties. We actually are wanting to expand. We would like to see this building grow continually. We would love to see the young people come through here and be an influence to help maybe some of our young children today be some of the astronauts to Mars.
This has been Jack Toney reporting for BKTV.
Wow, there's a lot of history to learn about just up the highway. Thanks for the insight.
Up next, covering a historical event in our school history, we have Maggie Killian. That's you!
Oh my God.
Who speaks with Coach Cravens and our very own Ari Woodson, who is the first swimmer from Farmington to compete at state.
Ari Woodson's the first ever swimmer from Farmington to go to state. And he has some pretty good feelings about going to state.
I mean, it didn't really come that much as a surprise, just because I'd been looking at the rankings all year, because it's always updated. But, I mean, I'm really excited. It's cool. But
are you nervous at all?
A little bit, not too much. I typically don't get that nervous, but in an environment where everybody's crazy quick, I'll end up feeling the nerves a little bit.
Although Ari is a great swimmer, he has had some difficulties, like getting into the right mindset as a swimmer.
So yeah, I think of myself as a swimmer just because God's blessed me with this talent, and I just didn't think of myself ever as a swimmer. My brothers swam 2 years before I got into it, and I just always making fun of them for it, just hated it. So just trying to get myself to put in the work over the off season, because my times early were where if I put in the work, I knew I would get to state. So just convincing myself that it's going to be worth it.
Ari's coach, Coach Cravens, told me how Ari's been performing.
Well, he certainly had the capability, and I think he's had some great coaches in his own right. His father probably being the first one, but certainly Coach Daniels has done a nice job with him the last few years, and he was right there. He was able to stay healthy. He was able to work hard and lead the team along with some other seniors on the team, and just doing the little detail work to get that necessary speed. Certainly gifted, but he's worked hard and earned where he's gotten.
We know Ari's going to do great at state, and we wish him the best of luck. That was a great segment, if I do say so myself. But on a more serious note, good luck to Ari as he competes today in St. Peter's.
Yeah, good luck, Ari. That's all we have for BKTV Live this week. Thanks again to all the veterans who tirelessly serve our country.
A reminder that we have no school tomorrow due to professional development. Thanks for watching.
BKTV Live.